Who's first? Luo Feng looked at the distant three warriors. I'm weaker than the two of them, why don't I go first? Otherwise if Emperor Chim or Li Shua were to go, Blade River Emperor would lose badly. Thousand Rain Emperor teased. Beside, Emperor Chim and Li Shua were watching too, waiting for Luo Feng to choose. If you want to go then go with the strongest. Luo Feng said directly. All right. Emperor Chim and Li Shua exchanged glances, following which Emperor Chimin's voice resounded throughout the land and skies. I'm about the same level as Li Shua, I'll go first. However Blade River, don't underestimate us, even though we're low profile within the human beast god race, there are only 2 or 3 emperors stronger than us. As for the 7 blade emperors and the other newbies, they're still weaker than us. Naturally I won't underestimate them. Luo Feng said. He was very clear the human race had many old people, maybe stuck at the last step for eons, however some of them had terrifying strength. It was just that many of them were low profile. On the other hand, the 7 blade emperors and Dream Illusion Emperor were famous, however if they couldn't break through after 100 million eras, they would be low profile and forgotten by the later generations. Time was like that. In mid-air, Luo Feng and Emperor Chim faced each other. Familiarize yourself with the body first. Emperor Chim said, let me remind you as the battle will be in the virtual world, hence the moment the battle begins, both sides will immediately ignite their bodies, instantly engaging in the most frenzied battle. Don't be like in reality, unwilling to ignite your body. Luo Feng however felt his virtual god body. Rumble, a powerful energy filled his entire body, every single cell was formed from incredibly powerful condensed god energy, as long as he willed it, he could instantly transform it into endless god energy, even if his body was torn apart, he could instantly recover it. This powerful and absolute control feeling far exceeded that of a Sector Lord. A body with 100,000 times Sector Lord strength. Compared to reality there are pros and cons. Luo Feng familiarized himself with the body. In reality, even with the help of the general spirit, my spirit energy is only at the beginner emperor level, only relying on my willpower that's even stronger than most knights, I finally reached the pinnacle of an emperor. But now, even without the general soul, just this illusory divine power alone is already at the peak of the king-conferred realm. Coupled with my will and consciousness, it's only natural that I'm even stronger. Origin force and spiritual energy, when one was in the Sector Lord realm, they would fuse together to form world energy. When it was undying power. Illusory undying power could be used to launch soul attacks. In reality, back then when I inherited the spirit amplifier technique from Demon Note, because my world energy was too weak, even after the amplification, it wasn't much compared to the general soul. Luo Feng thought, however now, my god energy has completely amplified once more. From the god force and amplitude, Luo Feng had indeed improved a lot. But there were also weaknesses. Even without the star map, the power of the star map was enough to allow Luo Feng to skip 2 or even 3 levels. Weapon. Luo Feng flipped his hand and immediately 600 golden balls floated out. The translucent golden balls were filled with origin law engravings. These 600 golden balls already contained Luo Feng's strongest move within. This was a very normal spirit weapon that Luo Feng had created in the virtual universe. After all, in the glory world only normal weapons could be used. Have you gotten used to it? Emperor Chim said. Haha, Emperor Chim, don't lose too badly. You have to use your full strength. Luo Feng immediately rumbled and every cell in his body began to burn. His energy rose and his strength immediately rose by 1,000 times. How long have you been training for? I'll let you know that us old folks aren't to be trifled with. We'll finish you within 3 moves. 2 knife claws suddenly appeared in Emperor Chimin's hands. Those were huge claws that covered his fists. Wong. Luo Feng flipped his hand and the 600 golden balls floated. Spirit Reader? Emperor Chim frowned and looked suspiciously at Luo Feng. The race should have informed them before they went to the inheritance grounds. Spirit readers that walked the beast god path would be at a disadvantage. How was this Blade River Emperor a spirit reader? Luo Feng casually tossed. The blazing hollowified god power passed through the complex law runes on the 600 gold balls, instantly triggering the fusion laws. In an instant, a gigantic beast deity appeared in the sky. By relying on the blazing god power to execute this move, it caused the beast deity to look even more real. As for the scaled tail, it was filled with an endless pressure. Emperor Chim fiercely snorted. Rumble, his entire body swiftly transformed. Scales appeared all over his body and his arms thickened. He was like a human-shaped beast god. Behind him, a huge and indistinct beast god silhouette appeared. His eyes were filled with madness. An originally elegant human warrior immediately became incredibly savage and crazy. He became a beam of light and rushed at Luo Feng. Chang Yu and Li Shua Emperor watched carefully from afar. That Blade River Emperor is indeed powerful. He's actually only slightly weaker and quickly got used to Emperor Chimin's battle style. Chang Yu Emperor was overjoyed. They're actually evenly matched. Don't rush. Li Shua Emperor said softly. Emperor Chim thinks that Blade River's training time is too short and his techniques aren't good enough. Hence, he didn't use his true strongest techniques from the start. Look, isn't that Blade River Emperor at a disadvantage? Now that the divine body is the same, it tests one's comprehension of the laws, secret arts, divine power amplitude, experience and so on. King Chapman is already very perfect in these aspects. His secret arts are also peak ultimate arts. and his divine power amplitude was also inherited by the divine general demonic note. Pinnacle techniques weren't rare at all. Universe Knights could almost all create their own pinnacle techniques. And those absolute geniuses that had hopes of stepping into the realm of Knights naturally had high expectations for themselves. Especially since they couldn't break through for so long, they placed even more emphasis on creating their own techniques. Unless those races were very weak and didn't have a good teacher, otherwise with a good teacher and a long period of time, creating their own pinnacle techniques was indeed not a small number. Luo Feng was praised back then only because the time he took to create his own techniques was very short. That Blade River Emperor is already not bad at all. But Emperor Chim isn't, what? Li Shuo Emperor was shocked. Blade River Emperor, Blade River Emperor. Changyu Emperor too stared. Blade River Emperor actually immediately exploded. Before the two were still evenly matched. However, right after, the Blade River Emperor's strength seemed to explode and he actually suppressed Emperor Chim. In midair. Lose. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with madness. His willpower immediately reached its peak. Rumble. In midair, the scaled tail of the giant beast god was like a road roller, crushing the spacetime. Rumble. The spacetime trembled. The scaled tail was incomparably ferocious, and its power was boundless. It was extremely overbearing. At the same time, its speed was terrifyingly fast. King Chim, the beast god in human form, roared and used his claws to block the scaly tail that was lashing at him. Pung! His entire body was violently whipped, his divine body's exhaustion immediately increased. Admit defeat. Luo Feng didn't show any mercy. He madly attacked, suppressing Emperor Chim time and time again, until Emperor Chim's divine body completely dissipated. Luo Feng's victory. Luo Feng stood in midair and looked at the distant shocked Changyu Emperor and Li Shuo Emperor. He was shocked within. I didn't expect to be forced to this extent. I've used my own strongest technique and even compared to them, I still have the beast god mentality advantage. When the other inheritors used their origin law comprehension to activate their ultimate moves. However, Luo Feng used his beast god mentality to activate his ultimate moves. Just in terms of origin law comprehension, Luo Feng was at the mid-level 3. However, his beast god mentality had already exceeded the perfect level 3, reaching the entrance of the 4th level. After all, his beast god mentality was extremely close to the 21st level of the heavenly bridge. With the beast god mentality, Luo Feng had a huge advantage. Along with his spirit energy oscillation, Luo Feng was very strong too, and wasn't considered a weakness. However, when Luo Feng's willpower wasn't fully unleashed at the start, he was actually at a disadvantage. This made Luo Feng exclaim. His willpower that was even stronger than most of the knights exploded. If he was a fighter, the benefits of having a strong willpower wouldn't be obvious. However, spirit readers were different. Willpower was the commander, consciousness was the general, spirit energy was the soldier. The willpower was extremely strong, causing Luo Feng's spirit weapon power to rise by 2 levels, from being at a disadvantage to completely suppressing Emperor Chim. I've lost. Emperor Chim flew over, looking incredulously at Luo Feng. Blade River, how did you? I admit defeat too, there's no need to continue. Li Shuo Emperor shook his head and sighed. Blade River, your reputation is indeed not fake. Other than treasures, your own strength, we all respect you. The two of them didn't feel good within. Even though they were low profile, they were very confident in their strength. Amongst the countless geniuses in the inheritance grounds, they were ranked above average. One had to know that once one reached a certain level, it was very hard to improve. Their willpower, consciousness, techniques, god energy oscillation etc. had all reached a near-perfect level. However, they still lost and it was a crushing defeat. Relying on the beast god mentality and willpower, these two absolute advantages, I was able to completely suppress Emperor Chim. Luo Feng thought. Meanwhile, in the distant core area of the Ancestral God Sect, on Circus Island, the inheritors who had sent Luo Feng a duel invitation and were discussing this matter in groups of 2s and 3s soon received an answer. That Blade River Emperor is after all just a sector lord. In the virtual world, abandoning all treasures in reality, he relies on his true strength. Didn't Bug Emperor also have to lower his head back then? I estimate that there are at least hundreds of thousands of challenge letters, I know a lot more. So many challenge letters, how many will he dare to accept? Haha. He too challenged me. What, accepted? You're really lucky, he probably just picked the weakest ones, haha. He accepted my challenge too. I've received his reply too, he accepted. In the glory world, in the open-air plaza, a large number of outsiders were flipping through their black books. All of them had received a reply. Accepted. He accepted. Blade River Emperor accepted. Voices resounded from all over the plaza. This caused the trillions of races in the universe to be shocked. Just how many challenges did this Blade River Emperor accept? Probably tens of thousands of them. The Circus Island was surrounded by endless colorful auroras, and the halo that demonstrated the mysteries of the origin law of the universe was constantly expanding in the sky. There were many palaces on the Circus Island, and one of them was decorated with ancient sword carvings. Suddenly, the palace door opened and a figure walked out. He was wearing purple armor, and there was a mark of 7 swords between his eyebrows. His whole body was like a sword and his eyes were as sharp as swords. 7 Sword King, your human king of Knife River is really amazing. 7 Sword King, did you challenge him? Two dark aliens who looked like short chimpanzees shouted in the distance. The Seven-Sword King was a little famous on the Circus Island because he had found a treasure in the treasure land. That treasure land turned out to be the place where a super-existence of the Ancestral God Sect had left his inheritance. In the glory world he might be average, but in the real world, with the Seven-Sword inheritance and the Beast God's inheritance, which made countless strong people jealous, he would be very terrifying when he went crazy. His life-saving ability was incomparably heaven-defying. Even many human strong people were jealous of his luck. The Seven-Sword inheritance alone made him and Dream Sway King the two immortal geniuses of this generation of human beings. And the inheritance of the Beast God made his status in the human race higher than that of Dream Sway King. However, many aliens didn't know what the treasure he had found was, and the Seven-Sword King had always kept it a secret. Even the top race, the machine race, only knew that he had obtained some kind of inheritance. The treasure land was the treasure left by the Beast God, the Guardian Beast God, and the Beast God of the Ancestral God Sect. As for what the treasure was, it was hard to say. It didn't necessarily have to be related to the way of the Beast God. For example, if Luo Feng's status was high in the future, he could still put some treasures that he accidentally obtained in the treasure land for future generations. As a result, except for the Seven-Sword King, the top leaders of the human race, and the Ancestral God Sect, no other forces knew how amazing the Seven-Sword King's actual harvest was. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sent the Life Destruction King to assassinate him. Haha, he is also a human being. Why should I challenge him when so many alien strong people want to challenge him? Sword light flashed in the Seven-Sword King's eyes and he laughed out loud. Oh right, do you know how many challenges this Saber River King has accepted? If even you don't know, how would we know? All we know is, there are at least 10,000 matches. With a single step, the two of them crossed over 1,000 kilometers, disappearing into the distance. 10,000 matches? The Seven-Sword King stood in front of the palace and muttered to himself, Blade River King, the most outstanding genius of the human race? Saber River King. I will not admit defeat so easily. After what he had obtained in the treasure ground, he had already thought that he had surpassed the Dream Sway King and was the most talented human of his generation, but now, the Blade River King had appeared out of nowhere. Back then in the extraterritorial battlefield, you were very inconspicuous, so I didn't care about you at all. I didn't think that your true identity was actually the Realm Lord. Knowing that you have accepted so many challenges, I really wanted to take a look at you. For the first time, I want to see what kind of genius of my human race that even my teacher believes has surpassed me is like. The Seven-Sword King silently said, I don't know if you are truly confident or if you are crazy, but you have actually challenged me over 10,000 times. You will soon understand, the inheritors here are all peerless geniuses. Even I can only be considered average in the world of glory. The cruel reality will soon wake you up. The core area of the Ancestral God Sect, one of the 8 directional Beast God temples, the Thunder Beast God Temple. From the outside, the entire Beast God Temple looked like a towering and resplendent palace that was hundreds of millions of kilometers tall. But in reality, the palace was actually a part of space-time. In this part of space-time there were rivers, mountain ranges, ice and snow, deserts, scenery everywhere. In the depths of an endless mountain range. It was like breathing. Every roar would fill the space-time that spanned over a light year with lightning. Countless lightning bolts would shoot out, and every would cause violent winds to howl in this part of space-time. Countless mountain ranges would be destroyed, rivers would cease to flow, and deserts would be filled with sand. Thankfully, there were no other living beings in this space-time. How dare you disturb my slumber? A rumbling sound resounded throughout space-time. A few mountain peaks in the endless mountain range were pushed up, and a gigantic 3-legged winged green-furred beast god that was over 100,000 kilometers long stood up. Every step it took caused the ground to tremble and mountains to collapse. The Ancestor God made me manage the trifling matters of the sect. The other 7 beast gods are all slacking off somewhere. I'm the only one left to stay here for 100 million epochs. How long have I been sleeping? It's only been 30 million epochs. I actually have to stay here for 70 million epochs before I can leave? The huge fur-covered beast god walked, causing space-time to tremble. Come in. The Thunder Beast God finally spoke. The space-time of the Beast God Temple opened up, and the God General who had been waiting outside immediately entered. God General Bloodfire greets the Beast God. God General Bloodfire streaked across the sky and landed on the peak of a mountain range. He looked at the Beast God in the distance, which was even larger than the mountain range, and immediately greeted him respectfully. I said before, don't disturb my slumber unless it's something really important. The Thunder Beast God spewed out a stream of air from his nostrils, causing the surrounding mountain range to vanish into nothingness. More lightning appeared out of nowhere in the sky, as though expressing the Thunder Beast God's fury. God General Bloodfire bowed respectfully. Beast God, it's something important. God General Bloodfire was helpless. The Ancestor God Sect had long formed a system. Many matters could be resolved by God Generals, especially since the Beast Gods were lazier than the other. They couldn't be bothered to manage things, and they couldn't even be bothered to connect their consciousnesses to the world of glory. Clearly, splitting their consciousnesses made them very unhappy. Speak. The Thunder Beast God looked down at the tiny God General Bloodfire. After inheriting the position of God General Bloodfire was definitely an existence that could fight ordinary universe lords head-on. As for the Thunder Beast God, once he inherited the position of Beast God, he would become even more powerful. We discovered a universe genius worthy of the Ancestral God Sect's nurturing, said God General Bloodfire immediately. Universe genius? You interrupted my slumber because of this? The Thunder Beast God's eyes flickered with lightning. Because he can kill peak stage king-conferred experts when he's a world overlord. God General Bloodfire hurriedly said. A powerful special life form? The Thunder Beast God's eyes lit up. The Ancestral God Sect also needed to nurture experts, and the Insect Monarch was one of them. Things would be different if the Ancestral God Sect took a liking to him. It was just that the Ancestral God Sect had extremely high standards. The so-called peerless geniuses in the universe, even if they were at the level of Kadi, were beneath their notice. No, a human. He is a human, but he was able to kill peak stage sealed kings when he was a world overlord. The Bloodfire God General said. And he did it head-on. Divine General Bloodfire was managing the Ancestral God Sect on behalf of the Beast God, so he knew more secrets. In terms of understanding the operating laws of the universe the most. Without a doubt, it was the Ancestor God cult. A frontal attack? This goes against the laws of the universe. The Thunder Beast God's voice rumbled. If it was a world overlord who relied on sneak attacks and some powerful treasures, there was hope. But a head-on battle? A peak stage sealed king with just a soul attack and a god attack could easily defeat a world overlord. According to the Ancestral God Sect's intelligence, especially when he was in the ice prison, he relied on treasures to hide his energy, allowing him to fight against an emperor invincible. He could defend against soul attacks and material attacks. His strength could even kill an emperor invincible. The Bloodfire God General said. Achim. The Thunder Beast God's huge eyes gleamed. He had a special encounter, and this special encounter allowed him to go against the laws of the universe. And not be suppressed by the laws of the universe. It was very clear what this meant. The universe was fair. Even the general armor and emperor armor that could raise one's strength placed a huge burden on the body. For example, the emperor armor required one to have 10,000 times the strength of a sector lord to wear it. Even the golden horned beast had to train in the 9 calamities manual to wear it. Hence, without the heavenly 9 calamities manual, the general armor, emperor armor, general soul, etc., couldn't be used at all. Without these, Luo Feng would just be a normal absolute genius. At most he could match up to Kadi. How could he kill an emperor invincible as a sector lord? Going against the laws of the universe, won't he be suppressed? The Thunder Beast God's voice rumbled. Pay attention to him. From now on, always pay attention to him. Beast God because he has a huge reputation in the universe. After all, being able to kill an emperor invincible as a sector lord, even though other powers besides our Ancestral God Sect don't understand the meaning behind it. He is after all a human, being able to do this is still shocking the universe. Hence, after he came to the inheritance grounds, he received large amounts of invitations from the other inheritors. Just now, this human accepted all the invitations. The Bloodfire God General said. All? The Beast God was shocked. Yes, all the invitations, over 620,000 battles. The Bloodfire God General said. 620,000 battles? What's his name? The Beast God General asked. Blade River Emperor. His real name is suspected to be Luo Feng. The Bloodfire God General said. Take a good look at the results of these 620,000 battles. I too want to know an existence that goes against the laws of the universe, just how far he can go. His opponents are absolute geniuses from all over the universe. The Beast God General said. Glory World, Battle World. Within the endless desert. Luo Feng was dressed in black armor and boots. Simultaneously he had a pair of scaled wings. Because Luo Feng's flying and dodging skills were the most convenient and quick to use his wings. What a powerful god body. I haven't even become an undying, but in the virtual world, I can already feel the feeling of having a 100,000x sector lord strength. Luo Feng looked at the distant silhouette. In the distance, a silver-gray snake-shaped monster slowly drilled out of the desert. Its triangular head was raised high, its huge body was in the desert, faintly discernible. Luo Feng smiled. The first battle of the 620,000 battles. The silver snake monster slowly slithered out of the desert. It raised its triangular head and stared coldly at the distant Luo Feng. It let out a sharp, high-pitched sound that was millions of times louder than scratching glass. Blade River King. How many glory points do you have? Do you dare to make a big bet with me? The sound was like a shockwave that lifted up the endless sand. You're honored because you're my first opponent in the glory world. Luo Feng smiled in the sand. First? Haha, looks like I deserve to be happy. 3 glory points, do you dare? The silver snake monster stared at Luo Feng, full of provocation. I'll choose 1 glory point to fight against all my opponents. Luo Feng said. He wasn't stupid. Based on his battle with King Chapman and some of his own logic, he should be at the top of the 3 inheritors with his beast god mentality and powerful willpower. However, he was afraid of making a mistake. If he made a big bet and lost, he would lose all his glory points and wouldn't be able to fight against other opponents. He had over 620,000 battles. Even if he bet 1 glory point per battle, it would be enough. Haha, I wanted to win your glory points so that the other inheritors can't fight against you. When that time comes, the entire Circus Island will know that you, Blade River King, were defeated by me, Peikafunsi King. The silver snake monster said proudly. Cut the crap. Let's fight. Luo Feng sneered, you're just a warm-up. Damn it. Along with the ear-piercing scream, a terrifying aura shot up into the sky, causing the entire desert to shake. Very good. LuoFeng's eyes lit up. Rumble, the aura around his body exploded as he ignited his immortal body. At the same time, he flapped his scaled wings and became a beam of light. At the same time, he swung his left hand and 600 gold pearls flew through the air. These 600 gold pearls were made purely from the Glory World's battle world. Each pearl was made from materials commonly used by Emperor-level spirit readers to make weapons. Along with the beast god's roar and the silver snake monster's ear-piercing scream, the battle began. Only a few seconds later. After tens of exchanges, Paika Funsi King's godly body was completely destroyed. No. The silver-gray snake silhouette's sinister eyes were filled with disbelief and anger. It wasn't willing to believe that it would lose to a world overlord. Under the same conditions it actually lost. After that, its silhouette turned blurry and vanished. Clearly it was kicked out of the battle world. Because Luo Feng had started his second battle. 4 glory points, Luo Feng took advantage of the gap between the two battles to flip through the black book. Indeed, his glory points increased by 1. The first opponent I chose earlier was considered average amongst the 3-level inheritors. Its strength was indeed slightly weaker than Emperor Chim. Luo Feng didn't even have to use his full strength to defeat his opponent. He was still standing in the desert. Luo Feng looked at the distant second opponent, smiling. Another free honor point, he's here. The battle continued. Glory World's open-air plaza was in an uproar. At least 100 million inheritors from all over the universe had their consciousness connected to Glory World. Even the 7 Sword Kings were the same because they had received the news that Blade River King had already begun to challenge them. What, you actually lost to that Blade River King? That Blade River King is just a sector lord. He doesn't have any treasures or external items in the battle world and you still lost? Ah, I actually lost. How useless. I hope that Blade River King doesn't lose all his honor points so quickly. That way it'll be my turn. Watch me. In the beginning, the 3 foreign race experts who lost consecutively were ridiculed by the other inheritors in their respective forces. Although they were ridiculing them, the other inheritors were also on their guard because they knew the strength of their companions. However, the open-air plaza was simply too huge. Close to 100 million inheritors were gathered there, with hundreds and thousands of them divided into their own groups. Hence, the news of the 3 who lost consecutively only spread within their own circles. The other inheritors didn't realize anything yet. However, LuoFeng's battles were simply too fast. Because in the battle world, his godly body would recover after every battle. Hence, Luo Feng didn't need to rest at all. Consecutively fighting 1,000 battles in one go. After spending about 11 hours, Luo Feng temporarily stopped and decided to rest. 1,000 battles spending close to 11 hours. In truth, every battle, the actual duration of the battle doesn't even exceed 10 seconds. It's actually the activation of each battle within the battle world and the conversations that take up a bit of time. Luo Feng thought. Luckily Luo Feng was usually too lazy to speak. Instead he would say things like, give me your honor points, prepare to die, I'm getting impatient, etc. to provoke him. Redbud Island before Luo Feng's mansion. Blade River. Blade River. A shout resounded from outside. After battling 1,000 battles, Luo Feng, who had temporarily left the glory world and was preparing to rest, well heard 2 shouts from outside. He knew it was Changyu Emperor and Chimin Emperor. Luo Feng took a step and vanished from the pavilion. Arriving at the entrance of the mansion, he personally went to open the door. Outside stood 3 people. They were Chimin Emperor, Changyu Emperor and another human inheritor. 7 Blade Emperors? Luo Feng was shocked as he looked at the visiting human warrior. Back in the Star Tower, he had seen this 7 Blade Emperor before. The 7 Swords King carefully observed the Blade River King whose name shook the universe. This was the first time he seriously observed the Blade River King. The Blade River King looked very ordinary at first glance, but if one carefully observed the Blade River King's eyes, they would be able to sense the incomparably terrifying spirit force contained within the Blade River King's heart. That was the confidence that came from his strong willpower, and his extreme determination towards himself. Even a sense of tyranny was contained within. This was something that Luo Feng's identity had been revealed by the Sky Wolf leader. He no longer tried to hide it. Instead, he became even more determined and prepared to face any storm. True gold fears no fire. Only through constant training would one's blade shine even more. 7 Blade Emperor, this is our second meeting. Luo Feng's lips curled into a smile. Last time I was only paying attention to the ceiling stars. I didn't notice the Blade River Emperor. 7 Blade Emperor smiled. Today I've specially come to meet the legendary Blade River Emperor. I wonder if Blade River Emperor would welcome me. Of course you would. Luo Feng smiled and moved aside. You 3 please. Haha, I've said before that Blade River Emperor is a very easy friend to get along with. Qinyu Emperor smiled beside. Emperor Chim, however, was very calm. Luo Feng and the other 3 entered the mansion. Very quickly they arrived at the guest hall. This guest hall was still in the style of Luo Feng's hometown Jiangnan. Within the hall there were only chairs and a tea table. Luo Feng sat in the main seat. Even though the 7 Blade Emperor, Qinyu Emperor and Chimin Emperor were curious about the layout, they looked at the 3 chairs on the left and right and casually sat down. Blade River. Emperor Chimin said, just how many battles have you accepted? Everyone that has challenged me, I've accepted them all. Luo Feng said. Beside, Qinyu Emperor and Seven Blade Emperor were slightly shocked. Then how many? Back when you entered the Plaza of Glory world for such a short period of time, there were already tens of thousands of battle requests. And right now the other races in Glory world are spreading the news. After asking the other powers, they've already guessed that you've challenged over 100,000 battles. The main thing is that there are too many powers, it's hard to calculate in a short time. However, in a few days it should be clear. Luo Feng smiled. Right, when I first entered Glory world there weren't many battle requests. After that, the number increased. I've received a total of over 620,000 battle requests. It's not out of my expectations. The total number of 3 inheritors is over 90 million. 620,000 battle requests isn't even 1%. 62. Emperor Chim couldn't help but be shocked. 620,000? Qinyu Emperor too opened his mouth wide. Even the 7 Blade Emperors were stunned for a moment. This number was too terrifying. One had to know that Emperor Chim had been here for an incomparably long period of time, yet he didn't even reach 1,000. After all, challenging someone was a very cautious thing. Plus, the human race had already met many enemies from other races in the universe. Sector lore to be able to kill an emperor-level pinnacle. King Chapman shook his head and sighed. Your name is too big. You've long been recognized as an absolute genius who can leave his name in the history of the universe. Those alien race inheritors want to fight with you personally. Furthermore, the alien race inheritors are too confident. No matter how cautious they are, with over 90 million inheritors, it's indeed very normal for over 620,000 inheritors to challenge you. We've come here to congratulate you. Congratulations on your 989 wins and 11 losses today. Qinyu Emperor laughed loudly beside. Congratulations. Emperor Chim said. Earning over 900 glory points in one day. That's enough to exchange for 9 inheritance chances. The 7 Blade Emperors sighed. How enviable. And Blade River Emperor, this is only your first day. Luo Feng smiled, thinking within, and I've lost 11 times. Even though his own strength was at the pinnacle, that didn't mean he was the strongest of the 3 inheritors. One had to know that different battle styles, different techniques, and even mutually countered each other. And Luo Feng chose his opponents. Of the 1,000 he chose on the first day, some were strong and some were weak. After all, those who challenged him were usually more confident. Especially the pinnacle warriors. As long as they were on Circus Island, almost all of them would challenge him. Luo Feng accepted them all. Losing these glory points, I don't care. To be able to battle with so many other inheritors, haha, it's worth it. Luo Feng was filled with pride within. On the second day, Luo Feng continued his battles. Luo Feng's battle results, the other inheritors only needed to look at the black book to know. On the 3 inheritors list, it was clearly written XX wins and XX losses. 1,000 battles a day, he would rest after each battle and continue the next day. And so it went on. Luo Feng's glory points rose at an extremely fast rate. This made countless other inheritors stare with gaping mouths. Especially that extremely high win rate. It proved that the Blade River Emperor belonged to the pinnacle of the 90 million third-level inheritors. This made many of the other inheritors who wanted to trample on the Blade River Emperor regret it greatly. It was a pity that they had already sent out the challenge letters and Luo Feng had already accepted them. They couldn't go back on their words. Even if they didn't fight, it would be seen as them giving up and they would still lose 1 glory point. Today's first update. In the Plaza of Glory world, the tens of millions of inheritors gathered, frequently flipping through the black books, looking at Luo Feng's battle records on the 3 levels of inheritors. 2,682 wins, 18 losses. This was the latest battle record. Today was also Luo Feng's 3rd day of challenging. He had already battled close to 2,700 times. How is this Blade River Emperor so powerful? My glory points, I've lost 1. Every time I challenge in the battle world, I've always been very careful. I definitely won't mess with the higher ranked ones. I've always tried to pick ones weaker than me, at most they've been on par with me. Being so careful, I've only earned 51 glory points today. I didn't expect to lose one just like that. However, this Blade River Emperor, the speed at which he earns glory points, it's simply insane. Let's not talk about it anymore. I have to give him some honor points. Who knew that this human would be so strong? A strange race expert with dozens of tentacles who looked like a sea monster seemed to be very dissatisfied. The hundreds of thousands of inheritors who challenged him this time have suffered greatly. Even though I didn't challenge them, thinking about it, I can't blame them. To be able to trample on the legendary Blade River Emperor is such a delightful thing. However, I didn't expect a mere sector lord without any external help. Under the same conditions, he's still so strong. This is simply... The plaza was practically filled with discussions revolving around the Blade River Emperor. They were shocked. These inheritors saw Luo Feng's 2,779 wins and 19 losses, 2,789 wins and 19 losses, 2,811 wins and 19 losses, 2,889 wins and 19 losses. While they were talking, his battle record continued to soar, causing those inheritors who worked so hard to earn 1 glory point to feel embarrassed. If that Blade River Emperor had revealed his strength in the battle world right from the start, then there definitely wouldn't have been so many inheritors giving him glory points. The inheritors all treasured the glory points. It was a pity it was too late for regrets. To be able to earn such a huge amount of glory points like the Blade River Emperor, he's probably the only one. Many of the universe's inheritors exclaimed. To do what Luo Feng did. Firstly, one had to be famous among the trillions of races in the universe. Such warriors were rare. Secondly, one had to be a sector lord. If not, those experts from the other races wouldn't have dared to challenge him so easily. They weren't fools. They knew that only when facing against the inheritors of the world overlord would these supreme geniuses feel that they would win for sure. After all, they were already standing at the very peak of the titled immortals. They were all exceptional geniuses. Sector lords came to the inheritance grounds. Luo Feng wasn't the only one in the history of the Ancestral God Sect. However, they were extremely rare. Of the sector lords, 2 of them were extremely famous. However, they didn't have Luo Feng's willpower that defied the heavens. After this battle, Luo Feng had completely conquered countless inheritors on Circe's island. They were convinced. Without any external conditions fighting in the world of battle, a sector lord was actually able to stand at the peak of the 3 inheritors. They were all convinced. Luo Feng had long been targeted by a few of the absolute powers in the universe. The moment the large-scale battles began, many reports swiftly passed through the inheritors of the various races and returned to their own powers. Kill, kill, kill. A roar that caused the entire starry sky to tremble reverberated through the space that was filled with flames the size of stars. In front of the majestic Heavenly Wolf Palace, the Heavenly Wolf Lord's green eyes were filled with frenzied killing intent. Human Blade River King cannot be allowed to live. In the void in front of the Sky Wolf Palace, the huge snake figure crawling on the ground trembled in the face of this terrifying killing intent. His comprehension of the laws is so strong that he ranks at the very top among the 3 inheritors. That's comparable to countless exceptional geniuses of the various races. The Sky Wolf Lord roared, "The 3rd inheritance of the Beast God is almost complete. In terms of comprehension of the laws, he's probably very close to becoming a universe lord. As long as he's willing, he can become an immortal at any time. Once he becomes an immortal with his comprehension that's extremely close to that of a universe lord, plus his many glory points, he'll receive a shocking number of inheritances. Through the Ancestral God Sect's inheritances, it'll be even easier for him to become a universe lord. When he becomes a universe lord, it'll be even harder to kill him." The Sky Wolf Lord ordered, "Quickly make a plan and report it to me. We have to seize the time to kill this human." "Yes." The huge snake figure bowed respectfully. "Go." The Sky Wolf Lord's green eyes shot out 2 beams of green light that landed on the huge snake figure. That huge snake figure was directly teleported out of this spacetime, arriving outside of the spacetime controlled by the Sky Wolf Palace. Following which, the huge snake figure directly teleported away. "Human." The Sky Wolf Lord stood in front of the Sky Wolf Palace, his green eyes flashing with killing intent. Amongst the universe lords of the demon race in terms of craftiness and viciousness, the Sky Wolf Lord was definitely ranked at the top. Back then when I saw that Blade River King, a mere sector lord, I didn't think much of him. I didn't expect that even without the aid of treasures from the outside world, he could still defeat a large number of inheritors in that battle world. And he's just a sector lord. His comprehension of the laws is actually so high. Furthermore, he has a large number of inheritance opportunities. The Sky Wolf Lord had already treated the Blade River King as a huge threat to the demon race in the future. In the incomparably distant and remote starry sky territory of the universe, in the depths of a universe secret realm. In the void, black ripples spread out in circles. In the center of the endless black ripples, there was a huge pitch-black throne. There were 18 golden alien skulls on the back of the throne. This huge throne was tens of thousands of kilometers tall, and its entire body was made of pitch-black material. If one looked at this black throne with their eyes, it was as if they were looking at an endless sea of blood. The color of blood condensed to the extreme was black. The 18 golden skulls embedded on the back of the throne seemed to be constantly emitting ear-piercing soul howls. The throne sat in the center of the endless black ripples that covered the void for hundreds of millions of kilometers. "Master." At the end of the black ripples, there was a foreign race expert with a shiny black body and 9 scorpion tails. He was prostrating there, but his voice was transmitted directly into the endless ripples. "The Ancestral God Sect successor has sent news. That human's Blade River King has fought hundreds of thousands of battles. He has already fought 2,781 battles and only lost 19. He is definitely among the top of the immortal inheritors of the various races on Circe's island. I can predict that he will be able to exchange for an astonishing number of inheritance opportunities. The probability of him becoming a universe master in the future is very high." Ha ha. The black throne let out a soul-piercing laughter. When this laughter rang out, the originally calm space suddenly trembled. Previously, there were only endless black ripples, but now, there were black waves as if there were countless black flood dragons chasing each other in the void. A peerless genius has appeared in the human race, and he will become a peerless expert in the near future. The most anxious ones aren't the prison clan, but the human race's neighbors, the machine clan, the demon clan, and the insect clan. Just wait and see. The assassination of this peerless genius is about to begin. This human will become a peerless expert through bloodshed and hardships. Or will he die along the way? I'm really looking forward to it. Go. The laughter from the black throne kept echoing in this space. At the end of the black waves, the alien expert with 9 scorpion tails prostrated and then disappeared into thin air. The prison clan was one of the top 6 clans. They were born in a strange and dangerous place in the universe. After surviving that strange and dangerous place with great difficulty, they made their way out. The experts of the prison clan were all different in appearance, and even life essence. Some were rock creatures and some were flesh and blood creatures. However, the prison clan had one thing in common: they were all born in that strange and dangerous place. They called that strange and terrifying place prison, and their clan was also the prison clan. A group of magnificent palaces made of countless crystals covered an area of several light years. In this group of crystal palaces, planets, stars, neutron stars, and so on were inlaid everywhere like decorations. In the middle of the group of palaces, there was a tall tower. The tower was 3.2 light years tall, reaching high into the sky. The sharp tip of the tower emitted a dazzling beam of light that shot upwards into the depths of the endless starry sky. Wherever this beam of light passed, any planet or star would be pierced through. Its power lasted for nearly an entire star field before it finally weakened completely. Within the group of palaces lived many strong warriors. In front of the tower there were two universe supremacies standing guard. They had perfect bodies made of crystal, and their heights were nearly identical. Their looks were also perfect and flawless. At the same time, they wore dark green ancient armors that emitted a terrifying pressure. Between their eyebrows, there was a golden eye that emitted a formless ripple that spread out in all directions, monitoring the vast area around the tower. Within the tower. "My lord, this is how it is." The warrior below knelt down. And above the main hall, dressed in a golden long robe, his entire crystal body shone with a faint light. That golden eye between his eyebrows gazed downwards, as though it could pierce through the soul of the universe warrior below. How interesting, the human race wins with numbers. Every single human has great potential. I didn't expect such a genius to be born. Pass down the order, classify this human Blade River Emperor as a Biho-level alien race. The voice was gentle, yet it had the power to make the warriors trust him. "Yes, my lord." The 6 pinnacle clans, the Space Beast Alliance, the North Border Alliance and other superpowers all received the news. Virtual Universe Thunder Island's highest point, that palace amidst the endless energy currents. An indistinct silhouette stood before the palace, following which he entered and walked to the center, saying respectfully, "Primal Chaos City Leader, the alien races will definitely attempt to assassinate Luo Feng. I don't know how we should deal with it, please advise us." "Assassinate?" The Primal Chaos City Leader's voice resounded. "Shadow, why are you so sure?" That blurry silhouette was slightly stunned, saying, "Blade River Emperor has fought over 620,000 battles, and his recent 3,000 battles, don't tell me you don't know? I've long sent the mail to you." "Luo Feng has fought over 620,000 battles?" The golden-robed silhouette walked out from the endless air current. It was the Chaos City Master. The Chaos City Master lightly tapped the air and 3 letters floated down. It was obvious that he didn't read any of the letters sent by the Dark Shadow Emperor.